So the title is not clickbait. I'm going to show you today how to build a tactical belt for $2. A little bit less, a few cents more depending on the type of supplies you go with, but these things stand up against the $25, $30, $60 tactical belts that you might find at your outdoor shops and sporting goods stores and that kind of thing. I typically make 1 3/4 inch belts, and they fit nicely with the holsters that I make. The loops on these are exactly 1 3/4 inches. So they're very tight and stiff, which is good if you're doing, competition shooting or sporting or anything like that. But if you're hiking, if you're driving, you might want a little bit more flexibility. So today I'm gonna go ahead and do a 1 1/2 inch wide belt. And what you'll need is 4 feet of 1 1/2 inch heavyweight polypropylene. Now I get mine at Strapworks. I don't get any money or stuff for saying that. That's just where I've been going for the last decade plus. This 1 1/2 inch heavyweight polypropylene at the time of this video anyhow is 34 cents a foot. If you get rolls of 30 feet or more, the price drops to like 30 cents, I think, and bulk, you can get it down to like 27 or 28 cents a foot. So if you're gonna be doing a lot of these for gifts for friends, stocking stuffers, one in every vehicle, that kind of thing, you might wanna go with a larger roll and get them in bulk. So you've got your webbing and what's called a 3-bar slide. Now there's 2 different types. You can get the standard size slide for 41 cents a piece. That brings the total cost of one of these belts down below $2. It's like, I don't know, $1.83 or something. If you go with the wide mouth slide, which I recommend, spring for the extra handful of cents, go 70 cents on one of those at the time of this video anyhow, and go with the wide mouth. Like in the case with this one, I have a double layer. It's black on one side, OD green on the other, very rigid, and the wide mouth allows for the webbing to go through. Now if you're using nylon or polyester, the regular width 3-bar slide is fine, but I recommend the wide mouth and heavyweight polypropylene, so webbing. So that's what we're gonna go with today. So it'll bring your total cost in at $2.06. So 47 1/2 inch total length gives 44 inches of usable belt length, basically comfortable for waists up to, about 40 inches, plus a few inches of pull through, When you have the belt on, obviously you need to have a little bit of length to pull it through. And you're also gonna wanna account for any space to accommodate a holster. Almost nothing for outside the waistband holster. Obviously more for inside the waistband holster. You're gonna wanna give yourself a couple of extra inches there. So for something like this, order 4 feet, 48 inches of webbing. Go 5 feet if you're sporting a larger than 42 inch waist, including your gear. So $1.36 worth of webbing, 70 cents for the 3-bar slider, and pennies for polypropylene thread, needles, adhesive if you'd like to do that. I'll show you the process here in a moment. But I like to do adhesive as well, just holds things in place while I'm stitching it up. And it's even cheaper if you go nylon and the standard slider, but for $2, go with the heavier duty materials. Heavyweight polypropylene webbing has a melting point of 330 degrees Fahrenheit. Unlike nylon, it's highly UV resistant, and that's important for me out in the desert in Arizona when I'm, spending a lot of time outdoors riding or shooting or hiking or whatever. The sun out here will eat up nylon in short order, less than 1 season, and it'll start falling apart. Polypropylene has minimal stretch, none in my experience. I've been using this one for over a decade, running these holsters that I make over it, and no stretch. Even when they're wet, even when they're weathered, it does not rot or mildew. The heavyweight poly, 1 1/2 inch, this is 1 3/4 inch, 1 1/2 inch heavyweight poly has a working load of 400 pounds and a breaking strength of 1,200 pounds. So who doesn't want that? And these are great to have. You can use the material for rifle slings. In the case of a belt, you can use it as a tourniquet. Could save a life. Zip line, if you protect it from friction burning. You can tow an ATV with this stuff. You can cut it into strips in an emergency for lashing and build a shelter with it. Certainly it serves well as a tactical belt. So I like things that have multi-purpose, and this certainly does that. So I have one in every range bag. I throw one in the back of the Jeep, and I just have 6 or 8 or 10 feet of this webbing generally for things like that. So I've used this stuff for years and years in IDPA, USPSA, other shooting sports, camping, hiking, all of that. So enough talking, I'm going to show you how to make one of these. It's super quick. You can do it in, once you do a couple of them, you can probably knock them out in 30 minutes. But we're going to go through the steps here.
So the first thing I do, stretch it out somewhere flat and measure yourself 48 inches. Unless you already have a 48-inch piece, then you're good to go. Mark it with some tape. You can go as simple as cutting it with a razor knife. Takes a couple passes. I cut it at an angle, and you'll see why. When it's belt form, you'll want that little extra piece so it's not just flat. And you sort of cauterize it with a lighter. Don't melt it too bad, but it'll cinch up. I do prefer doing the hot knife method. I don't have an electric hot knife. A plain old torch or even a lighter on a plain old Goodwill butter knife. Heat it up. Doesn't have to be red hot, and it just slices right through. Much, much nicer job. And you can give it that little angle. Next thing, you're going to want to flip over or fold over the non-angled edge over the center bar of that 3-bar slide. And you want to give yourself 2 inches. I go with 2 inches. You might want more, you might want less. Kind of up to you. 2 inches is a good rule of thumb. Then I go ahead and measure it all out. Make sure that I got, a good, 45 inches at the end there. I think that's about what I got. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mark it with some tape because we're going to put some sticky contact cement on here, or any kind of adhesive, but I like contact cement. Unfortunately, my stuff, that's what I use. This is old. This can is years old, and as you're going to see, yuck. I could thin it with some mineral spirits. I don't want to compromise the integrity of it. We're just going to go with it here. It really is like smearing, goopy jello. It just didn't go well, but it's okay. This is not what's holding it in place. This is just holding it in place. I mean, it's getting everywhere. It's a mess. I didn't plan this out before I shot the video, but you're seeing it. You're seeing how it goes, and it goes just fine. So smear it on there like peanut butter, really is how I did it. And you want a little bit on each side. Then you're going to let it air dry for about 10-15 minutes until it's just tacky, and just get it on there. Don't go too thick with it. It doesn't take a lot. I just want to hold it in place nice and securely while I do the stitching. The stitching is what gives this its strength, not the adhesive. Yep, file that in the appropriate storage in the shop. Here we go. I like to roll up all of the slack and just tape it off so that it's not dangling and rubbing around on the shop floor. You'll see later the tape does not hold, but I tried. So it's been about 15 minutes. The adhesive is tacky, and I just stick it in a vise. You can sandwich it between a couple pieces of wood. Just make sure it's straight and even. Once you clamp this thing down, you don't have to crank it, just smash it. I let it sit for about 30 minutes, I think, and there it's all set. Now, you could use this thing as is, but eventually when it got exposed to heat, it's gonna the adhesive is gonna come undone on you. So this is my stitching pony. I can do a video on how I made this. Let me know in the comments. The little wing nut on here, it allows it to adapt to various thicknesses of leather. I've made I don't know how many leather holsters with this thing. Anytime I need a soft little vise that holds something nicely on my lap, I stick it in the stitching pony, and I'm going to do the same with this. Now, you don't need something like this. You can use a vise. You can smash it in a book and hold the book between your knees. You can lay it on a table. Just some way to have access to the surface that's going to be stitched. So remember, there's about a 2-inch fold over on this that's over the center bar in the 3-bar slide. You want the full 2 inches exposed. Right along the edge is where I let it sit, just so I have access to the whole thing. I'm using polypropylene threading, You really don't want to use nylon thread for this, for the same reasons why you don't want to use nylon webbing. It gets wet a few times, sits out in the sun, that nylon will start coming apart. So what I'm doing here is I'm setting up for a saddle stitch. Saddle stitching is a strong hand sewing method that uses one long piece of thread and two needles, one on each end. And it creates interlocking stitches that are way more durable than machine stitches. It really is the ultimate method for in leather work and stuff like this. If a single stitch breaks, the whole thing doesn't unravel. And I'll pass one needle through it, then cross the second needle behind the first before pulling it tight. And then it's just repeated throughout the whole thing, and it really is bulletproof. And the intention of this video is just to show you an overview of how I make a tactical belt. It's not a tutorial on saddle stitching, but if this is something that interests you and you'd like a closer, more detailed instructional on how I do it, just leave a comment and or Google it. There's guys who have entire series dedicated to this stitching method, and I highly recommend it. If you're going to learn one thing, I would learn this over learning how to use a sewing machine or any other method. One thing I wanted to mention earlier before I started this is the box X stitch is the pattern that I recommend for this type of thing. Rifle slings, tactical belts, guitar straps, that kind of thing. And it's pretty self-explanatory. Again, I can go into more detail in another video if you'd like, but I recommend Googling it. You can just do a series of lines. You can do a square, you can do an X, you can do whatever you want. I like the box X stitch. It's extremely durable and probably way overbuilt for something like this. So what I'm showing you here, I'll describe it at the end when I'm talking about backtracking your stitches a few and how you clip the thread off at the end. But we're done with this video, and I'll do a little bit of talking to conclude things here in a second.
All right, so a few lessons learned on this one. I intended for this to be a quick video to demonstrate how I make tactical belts. First lesson learned, replace battery before doing any lengthy process like saddle stitching. Another thing, from watching past videos that this camera is not good at doing macro or close-ups. So I did what I could to kind of show where I was going. I started out at the bottom, worked my way up, and then I did an X across diagonally. The important part, whether you just do a box, a series of lines, or an X or a box X, it doesn't matter. When you come to the end, backstitch at least 3, which is what I showed in the last frame. Make sure that both needles come through the same side, and you can just clip them flush. They're not gonna come undone. Or you can tie them up. I don't like tying them up because if that knot does break, you can have little strings hanging there. And I'd rather just clip them flush with the material. So those were some of the mechanical issues I had with the video. And I'm still new at this channel. It's more challenging than I thought, managing a camera and trying to get lighting while actually doing the project. So there's multiple projects going on there. And I'll get better at it if I keep doing these things. So I didn't get to show you up close, but you know the materials, you understand the process. It's so simple. I think the narrow or the standard width 3-bar slider is the way to go with webbing this small, this narrow. Even though the width is negligible, really. It's 1/8 of an inch on each side. It's a 1/4 inch overall narrower. It just feels very flexible, if you know what I mean. I'm not concerned about the belt coming undone unless you intentionally do it, but I would go with the narrower 3-bar slide, the standard width. There's just a little too much space in there, and I don't know if you can see that, but there's just a little bit more space in there than I would like when it's all said and done. So I could double up on the layer here, and that would solve it, or I could go with a narrower slide. But what I think, now that I've done it, I'm gonna stick with the 1 3/4 or 2 inch and just make sure that my holsters all accommodate that. And if I were to buy a commercial holster, I'd make sure that it had enough room in that 1 3/4 loop to accommodate the belt without too much friction, as I was discussing at the beginning of the video. So I hope you enjoyed it. Next video, we're gonna make a guitar strap using similar principles as this. And we'll get leather involved, but there will be some stitching, some hole punching, and plenty of slides and loops and things like that. So I hope you stick around for that. Thank you for spending the day with me.